Can you hear me? Ah, there we go, there we go. This is such a tremendous night. It's winter, 1995, and this young girl has just finished her 5:30 a.m. swim practice and is headed to take a huge biology exam. She woke up with her boyfriend on her mind. It was a first relationship where naivety ruled, and if you can believe it, she was considering how to keep him even though he cheated on her over Christmas break. And to top it all off, before the first bell even rang, she overheard the morning's gossip coming from the locker room, spoken by those who were supposed to be her best friends, but talking about her. A little defeated, she walked down the junior hall and paused to stop and take refuge in a special classroom with a special teacher. Because in this room, the threat of mean girls, of boys pressuring you in ways you're not ready to handle, of achievement, of being perfect, disappear. Instead, this young girl is given truth and encouragement that stick with her, not just through the day, but for a lifetime. Thank you, Jane Henniger. I'm glad you were there. You see, research shows that youth with 3 positive adults outside of their own family go on to do far better in life. But the sad truth is that this generation cites loneliness and abandonment by adults as their greatest struggles. Just this month, at a citywide conversation talking about the escalating gang violence in our city, the chief of police said, "The issue is not that youth today don't respect their elders. Most youth today don't have an elder to respect." Isn't that powerful? Because youth lack real connections, they tend to make snap decisions that can lead to some dangerous outcomes. Just look at today's latest social media trend, Snapchatting. Anyone heard of it? Okay, maybe a few of you, yes. Snapchatting is 10 times faster than text messaging. 10 times faster, that's just what we needed, right? And it allows kids to send pictures that self-destruct 10 seconds after opening. That's got some scary implications. Kids are connecting second by second, yet they completely lack the authentic and accountable relationships that they need to thrive. It's no surprise then that in zip codes all across our city, we're seeing far too much teenage sex, drug abuse, eating disorders, school dropout, violence, and depression. In fact, a prominent psychologist notes that the family patterns once linked to the mean streets of the inner city are now showing up in cul-de-sacs across suburban America. There are really no at-risk youth, because all youth are at risk in our culture today. And each one deserves a Jane Henniger in their life. That's why tonight, with your help, we are launching a social media campaign that calls on all of us to think back to those critical moments in our own teenage years. And those moments, can you say, "I'm glad you were there," to someone specific? We want to spark a community reflection to bridge the age gap from youth today to us adults, to call on all of us to think back about the people who challenged us to look into our futures with hope. At the same time, as you heard from Johnny and LaQuisha and Laura on the video, we all have stories of overcoming adversity. And if we're willing to share them, we can say to teens today, we've been there. We can say to them, if I could go back, I would tell my younger self, honey, you don't have to be perfect. And that boy who cheated on you gets a little more sleep. Don't lose any more, because you will not remember his name in 10 years. I encourage you to be part of this conversation by logging on tonight to liveonpoint.org/2013, or you can tweet from #GladYouWereThere and join the dozens of stories that have already been captured. This is so critical because I believe that gratitude can change a community, because it calls on all of us to invest in someone else just as someone did for us, right? Just as Jane was there for me, I want to share some real glad you were there thoughts from students today. Chris says,
Mr. Walter, since you came to my class, I've been finding out what I need to be, because I was lost about the way a man was supposed to act. You're the first person who ever told me that I didn't have to have sex and do drugs to be a man. I honestly just didn't know. But after talking to you, I plan to turn my life around. I want what you and your wife have.
I want what you and your wife have. Just this month, veteran educator Walter Lindsay was teaching a particularly tough group of high school age boys. Reading the room, he instantly noticed signs of gang membership and substance abuse. Realizing that this was probably the first time that some of these boys had ever heard a message like this, in a tender moment he said, "You've got to know better to do better. I'm here because I want you to know better, but even more, I want you to have hope that your life can change." Yes, kids need to know better and have the hope they can actually achieve better. That is why, along with our school partners, we continue to teach our 22-year-old program during the school day called Think on Point. Think on Point helps youth avoid risky behaviors. We meet teens where they are, no judgments, but with a clear goal of helping them connect their choices today to their futures. We focus on important choices like setting boundaries, resisting peer and media influences, and avoiding addictions, STDs, and pregnancy. This 22-year-old strategy is extremely effective. In fact, in the last 22 years since it was founded, the local teen pregnancy rate has fallen by 52%, saving Tennessee taxpayers about $120 million a year. Just last year, students in Think on Point increased from 43 to 64% in their ability to avoid all risky behavior, including substance abuse and violence. Due to consistency and results, Think on Point is our school system's choice for risk avoidance education, reaching 14,000 students in 45 schools this year. You can see some of the schools listed on the slides. And if you can believe it, there is room for growth. According to the superintendent's office, this year, we'll teach about 43% of Hamilton County middle and high school students and 54% in Bradley County. How many more Chris's still need to know better? Our goal is to increase the number of students served from 43% to 70% over the next 2 years. And because our students tell us that they really need to recall these life lessons at 10 p.m. on a Friday night, we're also working with the organization WUPL to launch an app for youth. In those critical moments when kids need it most, they can log on and hear a quick message from their Think on Point educators, Miss Faith or Mr. Artez. Thanks to WUPL's generosity and a matching grant from the Covenant Values Foundation towards this goal, if we raise $150,000 in this room tonight, $75,000 of that will be matched, and reaching that 70% of students becomes a reality. Through Think on Point, we help them know better. But we know that it takes more than education to change behavior. In fact, just recently, I heard a school administrator state that it is fruitless to focus solely on academics and test scores when so few of our kids are prepared socially and emotionally for life. In fact, you might be surprised to hear that the MacArthur Foundation recently conducted a study noting that for today's youth, the average age of transition into adulthood doesn't fully occur until the age of 34. Any concerned parents in the room with a lack of space in your basement? Right? 34. Youth don't just need to be educated and supported. They need to be challenged with the intent to help them be ready for life. So what began 13 years ago out of listening to what schools and students need is now our weekly leadership and life skills curriculum called Life on Point. Each week, nearly 1,000 students in 16 schools meet to discover their strengths, learn critical life skills, and give back in their community. We get the privilege of walking with students in school from 6th to 12th grade, equipping them socially and emotionally for life. Nanette, a senior at Walker Valley High School, says it best.
Low self-esteem, the timid girl who didn't really care about life because she thought she was invisible. Yeah, that was me. I haven't had a dad around for 18 years, and my mom had to work to provide for all 5 of us. As a middle child, no one paid attention to me, so I never listened. I would do things my way and ignore everyone. I used to be the girl who hated everyone. I was a girl who made bad grades because my classmates made fun of me, because I was so much older than them. I joined a lot of clubs at school to get out of class and for free stuff they handed out. But in the end, I would quit because I would feel out of place. But not anymore. I'm not invisible anymore, thanks to one club I did not quit, Life on Point. I thank the staff for believing in me, helping me when people tell me I can't do it or won't be anything. I now turn around and say, Life on Point is my home, my family where I can accomplish all my dreams and goals.
But not anymore. She's not invisible anymore, thanks to the one club she did not quit, Life on Point. Solidifying stories like Nanette's, Life on Point produces measurable results that you can feel good about investing in. This year, with the McClellan Family Foundations, UTC, and the Hamilton County School System, we conducted a scientific study of the Life on Point curriculum, comparing students in the program with like-minded students who were not. Just look at the difference between these two groups of students. Left alone, the culture ensures that teens will regress in these critical areas of making healthy choices, academic attachment, resisting peer pressure, having positive support systems around them, and vision for the future. But with On Point, the trajectory of a student's life is positively altered, keeping them moving towards that hopeful future. These results compel us to expand Life on Point from 16 to all area schools where Think on Point is currently taught. And right now, we have a pretty long waiting list of schools for life. Our goal is to accomplish this by adding 2 new schools each year so that we can ensure sustainable growth of this program. You know, several years ago, the world began noting what our city proudly calls the Chattanooga Way, meaning an innovative and can-do spirit has led to local models being exported nationwide. Well, the unique success of On Point's Chattanooga story has captured the attention of those who work with youth across the nation. Because children everywhere need hope, communities are looking for results like these. From Catoosa County to Cleveland, we directly serve youth, yet we are partnering in 7 major cities across the country with our like-minded partner, the Urban Youth Workers Institute, to deliver Life on Point. This year, together, we launched Life on Point in 14 of Atlanta's highest risk schools and communities with really exciting initial results. This summer, we are poised to deliver training and curriculum together in Los Angeles, the San Francisco Bay Area, and Memphis. We are on the cusp of influencing an entire generation of youth, but we can't do it without your help. As On Point develops the right tools here in our own backyard, we will partner nationally to get them in the right hands at the right time for our youth. This strategy not only far extends our mission impact, but it brings resources back in to support teens right here in our own backyard. As I've heard it said by a colleague in our community, Ms. Allison Lebovitz, kids don't need one mentor, they need a board of directors. Don't we all? That's why we do not work alone. We desire to be a bridge from what kids need during the school day to the resource-rich communities outside of their door. To take this strategy further, thanks to the Tucker Foundation, we are partnering in Cleveland with the Bradley Initiative for Church and Community, creating a place where from schools into congregations and into community, youth and their families have the skills they need to thrive together. Because we're working to build that board of directors, we will partner this year with over 70 amazing partner organizations. That's more than double the number from just 2 years ago. We serve alongside great organizations like the Bethlehem Center, who are a light in this city for youth in the South Side, and the YMCA, our partners in building developmental assets for youth. We know at the end of the day that it's really people, not programs, investing in youth that matter. So to this end, we've also trained 35 organizations in our city, from Rock City managers to Boy Scout leaders, in creating a community where all youth can say, I'm glad you were there. In closing, let's hear what Jessica has to say on the eve of her graduation.
When I was just a freshman at On Point, I really thought I was a strong person, someone who could stand on my own. But as a senior, I now see all that others poured into me along the way and realize I really accomplished nothing on my own. I'm here because of so many.
Aren't we all? Because of those who invested in us, tonight I truly believe that there isn't a child that isn't ours. Thank you for believing that too. It is my distinct honor to introduce a man to you tonight who also believes that all kids are our kids, and through his own personal journey knows the value of glad you were there. Reaching 2.9 million listeners every single week on his Focus on the Family radio show. Jim Daly, president of Focus on the Family, joined the ranks of Focus about 16 years ago and became the president in 2005. And since his tenure, the organization has grown leaps and bounds in their ability to help the highest risk families with foster care programs and adoption focus. For a few years now, we've had the privilege of brainstorming, the humble privilege of brainstorming alongside Focus on the Family. And so it is my distinct pleasure tonight to welcome Jim Daly, our friend, to be with us. Thank you very much.